The woman poured the candle into her fingernail, then presses a diamond into it. The woman picks up her old-fashioned glasses and looks at it. She saw that the diamond and the nail cap were tightly connected. She then had a bold idea. The next day the woman clocked in and out. But as she was about to leave, a diamond fell out of her nail. The security chief picked up the diamond from the floor. Then he looked at her with a puzzled expression. When the woman saw what had happened, she opened her hands. A handful of diamonds appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The security guard prepares to take the woman to the police station. At that moment the woman woke up with a start. The reason why she had this dream, it was all because of a man. The woman's name was Laura. He works for the world's largest diamond company. He's worked for half his life. He's been stuck in the middle and lower echelons. Even if Laura did a good job, she's never been promoted to the top, because the people at the top of the company felt women are not as capable as men. They don't think women are as capable as men. But Laura didn't want to jump ship or give up. Every time she wrote in her notebook, "Hang in there, I'm sure I can do it." And when she came to work the next day, I opened the envelope and saw an extra sentence, "That you'll never make it." It was like a knife to the heart. Then he found a movie ticket inside the note. Laura went to the cinema to find out what was going on, only to find out that the man was the company's cleaning lady. Boots. Laura thought he was trying to woo her. She thought he was trying to woo her. She turns to leave, but is stopped by Booth. Booth told him he wanted to work with you, and that you've been fired from the company, because he was cleaning up. I overheard a decision from the top. The company was going to cooperate with the Soviet Union. They asked the company to keep it a secret from all female executives. That's why they were going to fire Laura straight away. Booth also told him that the company knew what you could do. They're afraid you'll go to another company. They'd shut you down from the industry. Laura came to the manager's office in a state of disbelief. Went to the manager's office. Inside he found the letter that he had been sacked. Laura was disappointed. He found his confidant. She was working for another diamond company. Laura tries to ask the man to help her find a job, only to be rejected outright, because Laura's company is the biggest diamond dealer in the world. They had closed down Laura the day before. Desperate, Laura approached Booth the next day. He asked Booth what he wanted to do. Booth told him to steal the diamonds from the vault. Then Booth told him what he wanted to do. Booth had been in the company for 15 years. Every day he was the last one to leave the company, waiting for the day when to steal the diamonds from the vault, so that he could become wealthy and free. Then Booth took him to his home, showing him the results of his years of investigation. He told Laura, from 6 p.m. after all company staff had finished work, except for the security inside, he was the only one left to clean inside. And the security patrols come once an hour. The company has 8 cameras, but the monitors only show 4 images. Each one switches every 15 seconds, which means Booth has a 1-minute gap to get into the vault. But now the code to the diamond vault is missing, and the vault code changes every day. The new code can only be stolen from the governor's house. Laura tells him she has a way, because the governor is having a party at his house tomorrow. At the dinner, Laura sneaks into the governor's room to find the code. When the door outside suddenly opens, Laura hides behind a bookcase. The governor opened a secret compartment in the wall. He puts the combination in the safe, but Laura can see it clearly from behind. When the banker had gone, Laura opened the safe and got the combination to the vault, gave the combination to Booth. Then Booth pretended to clean up, pulled out the timer in his pocket. He pressed it while the monitor was switching. Then he ran as fast as he could to the vault. Everything went just as Booth had hoped. He managed to get into the vault. Then he spun the thermos in his hand. The next day Booth left work as normal, only to find that Laura, who had just started work, he was called by his boss in a hurry. When he arrived at the vault, he was stunned by what he saw. He had thought that Booth had not stolen much. He didn't think Booth had stolen it all. Here Booth returned home. He unscrewed the thermos and poured out the tea from it. Looking at the picture of his wife in front of him, Booth smiled with relief. The company executives began to analyze the theft. There was only one way through the vault, and it was closed off. There were no drains or air vents. It would have taken more than one person to move so many diamonds. That afternoon, the president received a letter. He was offered £100 million. He would return all the diamonds. At first, the banker thought he was being unreasonable, until he saw the £10 million. £10 million Star of Africa. The banker started to panic. He immediately called the owner of the insurance company, because the banker had insured all the company's diamonds. The coverage was exactly £100 million, and the insurance company only had exactly £100 million. But the insurance company didn't want to pay the money. The company would go bankrupt if they paid that amount. So, he deliberately gave the news of the stolen diamonds to the press. The next day, the diamond company was mobbed by the press. The president of the company was found out. He accidentally had a heart attack. He died on the spot. The banker's son here accused the insurance bosses of killing his father, threatened to pay £100 million immediately, or he would expose all the scandals of the insurance company. All the scandals of the insurance company would be exposed. The insurance boss didn't know he'd scare the other guy to death either. He didn't want to face it either, so he chose to end his life by jumping off a building. Laura panicked when she found out. She didn't know it was going to get so big. She wanted to wash her face and calm down. Then her earring accidentally fell down the drain. When she saw this, Laura thought of something. She opened the lid of the well at the side of the road, and underneath he found Booth, and there was a mountain of diamonds. Booth told him that he had used every gap in the surveillance that day. He went in and out of the vault many times. He took all the diamonds out of the vault in a bin, and then replaced the pipes under the sink, replaced it with a fire hose, and dumped them all in. After the story was over, Booth revealed what he was really up to. It turns out that 15 years ago Booth's wife had cancer. All the family's money had been used up. At the time, Booth had taken out medical insurance for his wife, but he was denied compensation. Until after his wife's death, Booth still hadn't received any compensation from the insurance company. In order to avenge his wife's death, he wanted to bankrupt the insurance company, and he hid himself down here, because if the police never found the diamonds, then the insurance company would have to pay them back. Just as he wanted, Booth received the £100 million, and the insurance company went bankrupt. He had achieved his goal, and then he turned around and left the place. And finally Laura called the company, saying she'd found the diamonds, so Laura became the biggest contributor. But after this incident, Laura was still not hired by the company. She was dismissed from the company. On the same day she was dismissed, Laura received an anonymous transfer of money. He was given £100 million. Laura did not spend the money. Instead, she put it all into charity. Over the next 40 years, Laura gave all the money away. At this point he was relieved. And that's the end of the film. The film is flawless. There are no unrealistic special effects in this film. There are no exaggerated acting techniques. No iconic actors. But it's still impressive. It also reflects the shortcomings of the time. There were all kinds of shortcomings in the homes people lived in. We learned to think differently.